Recording in progress.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya naham chaiva narotamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jaya mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very midst of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, and to Narayana, she is the supremest human being, and to Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. And I need glasses. Today we are reading from the third canto, entitled The Status Quo. And we are reading from chapter 5, entitled Vidura's Talks with Maitreya. And we are on text 3. So 3, 5, 3. That's where we are. Janasya Krishnat Vimukasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukitasya Anugrahaya Iha Sharanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat
Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivad
Adharmashilasya Sudukitasya Anugrahaya Acharanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavayani Janardanasya Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukitasya Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukitasya Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya
Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat
Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Daivat
Adharmashilasya Sudukitasya Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam
Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam
Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya
Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. Someone online would like to chant? Okay. Janasya of the common man.
Of the common man.
Krishnat from the Supreme Lord,
from the Supreme
Krishna,
Krishna,
Vimukasya,
Vimukasya,
of the one who has turned his face against the Lord,
of the one who has turned his face against the Lord,
Daivat,
Daivat,
by the influence of external energy,
by the influence of external energy,
Adharmashilasya,
and Dharmashilasya,
of one who is engaged in irreligion,
of one who is engaged in irreligion,
Sudukitasya,
Sujukitasya,
of one who is always unhappy,
of one who is always unhappy,
Anugrahaya,
Anugrahaya,
due to being compassionate towards them,
due to being compassionate towards them,
Hiha,
Iha,
Hiha, in this world,
in this world,
Charanti,
Sharanti,
wonder,
wonder,
Nunam,
Nunam,
certainly,
certainly,
Bhutani,
Bhutani,
persons,
persons,
Pavyani,
Avyani,
great philanthropic souls,
great philanthropic souls,
Janardanasya,
Janardanasya,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
of the Supreme Personality of God.
Translation, O my Lord, great philanthropic soul, souls travels the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. To be obedient to the wishes of the Supreme Lord is the natural position of every living entity. But due only to past misdeeds, a living being becomes averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord and suffers all the miseries of material existence. No one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Therefore, any activities other than transcendental loving service to the Lord is more or less a rebellious action against the Supreme Will. All fruitive activity, empirical philosophy, and mysticism are more or less against the sense of subordination to the Lord, and any living entity engaged in such a rebellious activity is more or less condemned by the laws of material nature, which work under the subordination of the Lord. Great unalloyed devotees of the Lord are compassionate toward the fallen, and therefore they travel all over the world. With the mission of bringing souls back to Godhead, back to home. Such pure devotees of the Lord carry the message of Godhead in order to deliver the fallen souls, and therefore the common man, who is bewildered by the influence of the external energy of the Lord, should avail himself of their association. Hare Krishna. Om Gyanati Merandasya Gyanajala Shalakaya Shakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Dakatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustute Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhya Chakri Pasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paskachya Dejatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mokam Koroti Vachalam, Pangum Langayate Grim, Yat Kripatamam Vande Shigu Dejatarinam. So the verse is from Canto, the third Canto, chapter 5, text 3, and the translation read again. O my Lord, great philanthropic soul, travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. So we are continuing like the start of the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. And from the previous verse, Srila Prabhupada explained how Vidura is like asking basic question, and it's for the common man. So when I hear that sentence, common man, I can really identify to that, like ordinary common human being. Like that's who I am and who most of us are. And Vidura, of course, is not a common man, is eternal associate of the Lord, is pure devotee of the Lord, is he got to play a role when Krishna come on the planet. He got to take birth in the Yadu dynasty. So Vidura is nothing of like a common man, and still for our benefit, he speaks like a common man, and also not only for our benefit, for also accepting proper etiquette. And proper etiquette means we approach a spiritual master from a position that we are a fool. Like even Lord Chaitanya, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he said, I'm a fool. I'm a fool, and that's the way to approach a spiritual master. Because if we approach a spiritual master with our erudition, like I know so much about Krishna, I'm going to ask the most esoteric question. Then in a sense, it doesn't create the right balance between the spiritual master and disciple, and then the transfer of transcendental knowledge is not going to happen with lack of humility and with the disciple not feeling and thinking that he is a fool and he doesn't know anything. So those are two reasons that Srila Prabhupada shows that Vidura is approaching Maitreya from that perspective, even so he heard so much from Uddhava, and the topics that Uddhava spoke with him for a full night were very elevated. The two of them, Vidura wasn't the idol, he was a Kuru, but the two of them, they have a full history of common ground of being part of Krishna's pastime. And they express so much during that night. Uddhava shared so much with Vidura. And then Uddhava sent Vidura to Maitreya to hear more about the self-realization. In fact, Vidura's question was like, can you tell me what Krishna said about self-realization? And Maitreya, by chance, he stumbled upon the Lord as the Lord was leaving the planet. And so Maitreya, he was a sadhu, definitely Brahmanical, definitely Brahman, but he was kind of an ordinary Brahman. And through the direct association of the Lord, through hearing from the Lord, then he became exalted devotee. And that familiarity that do exist between those two of Uddhava and Vidura is not there. Vidura, in a sense, haven't met Maitreya. He doesn't know Maitreya. All he knows is Maitreya is that great personality that got to hear the Lord as the Lord was leaving this planet. And so he's approaching him from a very common, like, I'm a common man. I'm not that, I'm not that eternal associate of the Lord. I'm just a common man. To create the proper atmosphere for transcendental knowledge to flow from Maitreya to Vidura. So there is so much to this text and purport. So that's about the common man. And then Srila Prabhupada, he speak about the rebellious, because Jivira Swarup Oy, Krishna Nitya Das, Krishna Nera Tata Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. So that say it all. That Jivira Swarup Oy, like the form of the Jiva is to be an eternal servant of the Lord. So servant means complete subordination. And only when we reach that point of complete subordination will we be happy, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. And we are emanation. Krishna emanates from him. There is many, he expands himself. He expands himself in different forms, Vishnu Tattva, and he expands himself in his separate. So the Vishnu Tattva are himself and different feature of himself. And so they are not separated, let's say. And then the jivas, they are separated part and parcel, and they are separated. They are separated, and still they are emanation. So we are emanation. We are eternal servant of the Lord. This morning I was speaking with Parampara, and we can think of that prayer that Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshastakam, he said, "Oh my Lord, I am an eternal servant. I am your eternal servant." And we can all say that, because that's the absolute truth. I am your eternal servant. We have forgotten that we are servants. Maybe we don't feel I am servant. However, our real identity is I am. I am an eternal servant, and we can pray like that to the Lord. Oh my Lord, I am your eternal, yet somehow or others I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Yet somehow or other I have fallen. I may not remember how I fall, but if I admit, I come to the consciousness, yes, I am an eternal servant of Krishna, and yet somehow or other, Lord Chaitanya said, I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. And then the Lord petitioned the Lord. He said, please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. So that's Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshastakam. And we are all, and Krishnera Tatasta Shakti Beda Beda Prakash. That means that we are also Krishna marginal energy. Because we are separated energy, we are marginal. Marginal means Beda Beda Prakash. Like we can identify as Krishna's servant or not. We have that choice. We have free will. We can identify as Krishna's servant or not. Tatasta Shakti means like we have the marginal energy. Beda Beda is oneness and difference. So we are one with the Lord and we are different from the Lord. And the Lord wants that difference, because without that difference, there is no love. So he gives us free will and he said, okay, go with now. And when Srila Prabhupada was rebellious living entity, I was thinking how when I got cancer, I read a purport where Srila Prabhupada was saying something similar. So we can imagine our body. You know, we are a body. We are part of the body of the Lord. We are part of the body of the Lord. We are never separated from the Lord. So we are part of the body of the Lord. So we can imagine a body and a body of different organs, different organization. Everything is so magic. The human body is such an amazing creation. Like it's so, it can heal itself, it can grow nails and hair and digest food, it can transport nutrition, it can transport our consciousness, can go all around it. It's like really an amazing entity, the body, our bodies are amazing entities, and of course the soul inhabiting this body. So we can imagine like our soul is inhabiting the body, and the body is in service to the soul. You know, nothing else is important in this body, and we will speak about that a little further. So the body, every part of the body, every cell of the body, every organs of the body is in service to the soul, is in service to self-realization, to the self. And there is a verse. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Yeah, it's Pidyatiri Dayankantis, Chidyantis Sarva Shamshaya, Chiyantis Shasya Karmani Drista Evat Manishwari. He said, like when the nut in the heart is pierced, you know that nut? It's called false ego. And we need to learn to experience that nut. I experience it in my sternum. Like when I act out a false ego, I have a physical sensation that tells me my nut is tightening. So when the nut is pierced, when that nut in the heart, it's in the heart really, and the heart is kind of, you know, in the region here, is pierced, and all misgiven are cut to pieces. All our illusion is turned to pieces. The chain of fruitive action is terminated. We stop the chain of action-reaction. And it's terminated when one sees the self as master. And in that verse, the self is a little self. It's not a big self. So when we see that the self is the master of the body, and that all the cells of the body are subordinate to that master, then we are liberated. And so I was thinking like what creates disease in the body. I'm hearing a lot about disease. What creates disease is that friction, that resistance to be subordinate. And that resistance to be subordinate is creating disease in the body, and eventually is going to create rebellious cells. And those rebellious cells that go against all the rules and all the subordination of the body as an entity that need care to the self, and that only objective is the care to the self, is called cancer. Cancer are rebellious cells. They decide, I'm going to do something different than working with the whole. So we are all cancer cells. As long as we have that nut in the heart, we are a cancer cell on the body of the Lord, because we are part and parcel. And as long as we are cancer cell on the body of the Lord, rebellious, we are going to suffer. And there is one sentence that Srila Prabhupada says in his purport that's so powerful. Of course, every word Srila Prabhupada utters, every word, every sentence has potency. And, you know, once in a while, there is one sentence I feel, wow, it's like eating me. You say, no one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. No one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. No cell in the body has anything to do but serving the self as master, seeing the self as master, and serving the self-realization as master. And then when false identification, the false ego creates that, no, I'm going to serve the body. I'm going to serve my senses. I'm going to serve my mind. I'm going to serve my intelligence. Then that's the rebellious, and that's when pains come. There is a verse in second chapter of the first canto that says, Dharma swanustita pumsam vikshvakshena katasuya nat padayat yatim trava eva eke valam. It said, all occupation, all everything we do according to our own position. Our position means our psychophysical nature. It means our prescribed duty is but a useless labor if it doesn't provoke an attraction for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So all our occupation. So here Srila Prabhupada said, no one has anything to do but render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. That's it. So all the cells of our bodies have nothing to do. They have no existence separated from the cells. Because when the cells leave the body, they have nothing to do anymore. They are useless. They are useless. My liver is useless. My kidneys are useless. My heart is useless. All the cells that comprise the skin are useless. Everything is useless in the body. When the soul leaves, that means that all that those cells in the body are supposed to serve, and when they are in integrity with that function, then the body functions well. So similarly, all us as cells of the body of the Lord, we have to function as a servant of the Lord, and any activities that's not aligned with the service of the Lord is a useless waste of time. That's Sutta Goswami saying that. It's not me. Sutta Goswami saying that. And where I wanted to go. Oh yes, and Srila Prabhupada described 3 types of activities that we may get into that are useless waste of time. One is fruitive activities. He said fruitive activities. Therefore, any activities other than the transcendental loving service of the Lord is more or less a rebellious action against the supreme will. All fruitive activity, empirical philosophy and mysticism are more or less against the sense of subordination to the Lord, or any living entity engaged in such a rebellious activity is more or less condemned by the law of material nature, which work under the subordination of the Lord. So those activities, let's see how they are unsubordinate. So again, we are by constitution, we are group of is to be a servant of the Lord. So fruitive activity, what does that mean, fruitive activity? Fruitive activity is an action that we perform to get a fruit. Yeah. And so if we just go to like basic fruit, apples, strawberries, whatever. So any action we perform to get a fruit is kind of denying that Krishna is giving the apples. Krishna is giving the strawberries. Krishna is giving. So in a sense, when we deny that, we are rebelling instead of saying, oh, Krishna is giving the fruit. And that's true for every action. Every action, when what the fruitive worker, he works with a goal in mind and with consciousness that my effort is going to bring the fruit. And those are mostly baffled. We sometimes get some fruit, but we may, get lemon instead of orange. In fact, I have an orange tree on my backyard, and I planted it, I don't remember how many years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I don't know. And it never gave any fruit or flower or anything. But this year, it was covered with flower. And now it's covered with tiny little, budding oranges. And I have no idea. I have no idea what the fruit is going to be. So many times in Florida, orange trees that were planted, supposed to be very sweet, become like that impossible fruit that is not a lemon and it's not an orange. It's sour and bitter and it tastes disgusting. So we will see if patience pay off. We will see back to 11. So it's like that. Often we put a lot of energy towards getting a fruit, and we are attached to that fruit. And what we get is often lemon, or maybe not even a lemon, maybe one of those oranges that not a lemon and that tastes bitter and sour. And very rarely do we get, do we get the fruit in proportion to the effort. That's what I was sharing in my last class about Pavarga. Pavarga, the two first item of Pavarga is working very hard and foaming at the mouth like a horse. So yeah, all those are useless endeavor. Like as long as, so we want to check. Am I fruitive? I am fruitive. Am I trying to get a fruit and attach to the fruit of my labor? Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, you're not entitled to the fruit of your labor. That's how it is. It's a law. As Srila Prabhupada recently, I was hearing a class and he said, yeah, the government have laws. And it's not like you go home in your bedroom and you make laws and you say, okay, these are the laws I'm following. And then you go back to your life and then you're following the laws that you decide. No, that won't work. If you follow your laws and your laws say, oh yes, I'm going to drive backwards, then no, it's not going to work. It's going to create havoc in society. So similarly, we cannot create the laws of the Lord. And that's bring us to the second type of people, empirical philosopher. Empirical philosopher is a part of us that want to make our own rules. We decide, no, here is a rule I'm going to follow. Here is a rule. The spiritual master gave us a rule to follow. He gave us all the regulative principles. He gave us guidance. He gave us all that. Empirical philosopher part of us, he said, no, I'm going to be speculative and imagine how the world works. And based on that, I'm going, in a sense, I'm going to satisfy my senses. So empirical philosopher, they create all kind, we can see scientific people part of that. They create all kind of diverting laws that fit their agenda, but only fit their agenda. And that creates that, again, they are not accepting the subordination of their position to the Lord and not accepting that the Lord, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavu Mata Sarva Parvartate, the Lord says, I am the source of the material and spiritual world. So if he is the source of the material and spiritual world, then naturally he also, out of his great mercy, give us rules. Follow those rules, you will be okay. Like some of us, we are good citizens. I was never a very good citizen. I think I have a very rebellious tendency, even for rules in general and government rules. If I don't understand a rule, I don't follow it. That's a part of me. I can put it aside in listening to Srila Prabhupada, but in general, I think I'm that kind of person. I'm rebellious. Like if I don't understand why I need to do something, I'm not going to do it. And that's good because in Krishna consciousness, there is space to understand all the rules and regulation. So that's something that's been really a savior for me because it's not like Krishna or Srila Prabhupada ask us to follow blindly. We want to use our intelligence to understand, why should I get up in the morning early before the sunrise? Do I follow blindly? No, I understand. Because if I do the experiment of getting up before sunrise, then I really have such a beautiful experience of connecting with the Lord. My meditation is easy. My mind is not disturbed. I can really experience the potency of the Maha Mantra, and that carries me through my day. And my day is so much easier. My day flow more naturally. I'm less attached. So, like practically all the rule and regulation and religious principles, the principles that given by the spiritual master, we can understand them if we choose. So there is place for our intelligence, but the empirical philosopher, as Srila Prabhupada calls them, they are rebellious in the sense that they want to reinvent the wheel. And that's just create misery, create disappointment and miseries. And I'm just looking at the chat. And then the last part is mysticism. And it's interesting for me because recently I got into something that is very attractive. It's very attractive, something that can give me happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment, complete happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment. And it's devoid of Krishna. And I'm so, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful, and it's described as we progress in spiritual life. Maya is going to bring some type of glitter to us. Maya is going to bring some glitter, all connected with opulence, like glitter of wealth. Like, wow, I work hard and I see money coming. So I forget about my sadhana. I'm thinking, well, if I have money, I'm going to be happy. So, or wealth or fame. Fame is another one. Like, fame is so intoxicating that, let's say I get a little bit of fame. And we have seen a lot of that in spiritual life, even in Krishna consciousness. People, because the process of Krishna consciousness gives so much Shakti. It gives so much knowledge. It gives so much attraction. A devotee becomes so attractive that people are attracted to the devotees. And then the devotee can be like feeding themselves with that fame and then kind of be so attracted by that, can put aside Krishna, can put, and again, put themselves first. And so many things. So recently, I was practicing Qigong with a master that's really realized. I really do believe is Brahman realized. I really do believe that he is realized. There's like what he knows, the way he teaches, his energy, his love is really advanced. I have no doubt that he's very advanced. And then by following him, I really felt a lot of happiness, and I still feel it, and I know it's coming from him and his teaching, and I'm following his teaching, and then I could see a part of my brain started to feel like, oh, whoa, that sounds great. What do you need anything else but that? Because the goal of life is to feel good and content and peaceful and satisfied and happy. So I could see that in my mind. And it was very subtle like, yeah, maybe my practice of my japa, maybe my reading of the Bhagavatam, maybe everything I've done in Krishna consciousness has been to get that juice of happiness, satisfaction. And, and this other path is of a lot of mysticism like being able to heal someone. And I can see it works. I can see I can go there and tap into that healing, like Christ was tapping into that healing. So, and I could see, wow, I can heal people, I can make them feel better, make them feel happy, satisfied, peaceful. That sounds like a good idea. It sounds sattvic, it sounds humanitarian, it sounds like benevolent, it sounds compassionate. And so again, it was just, thinking about it, like really thinking about it, thinking more deeply. Is that the goal of human life? To have everybody happy, to have myself happy and everybody else happy, free from pain. Is that the goal of life? To be peaceful. Is that the goal of life, to come to a place of contentment and gratitude and all that? Of course, all that are sub-religious principles. For sure, they are very conducive for spiritual life. Like Sattva is like a really good platform for spiritual life. And at the same time, this is different than really be fully subordinate to the Lord. And it can lead there. However, there's the trap of mysticism. The trap of mysticism that can be so glittery, that glitter, like, like for some is fruitive action, glittering, or empirical philosophy. And then the mysticism having power to move on a subtle platform, having power to do things, to heal people like that. And I felt like, yeah, this is a trap. This is another trap. And that's a trap that's more subtle, that will keep me in a cycle of birth and death, and maybe take me to the heavenly planets, very possibly. Maybe take me even to impersonal liberation, possibly too. But it's not going to take me as one of the atom of the lotus feet of Krishna. And being one of the atom of the lotus feet of Krishna is it's not about no pain, no gain. It's about allowing the pain to be transformed, allowing the pain to be transformed into prayer. Asislasya vapada atadastumam adarshanamama atam kautuva. Anyway, that's Lord Chaitanya again. He prays. He said, "I'm your eternal servitor, and no matter what's happened, no matter if you embrace me, no matter if you make me brokenhearted by not being present before me, I am your eternal servant. I am going to love you. I'm going to serve you. And no matter what glitter come in my way, I'm not looking at those glitters. I don't want those glitters. I don't want those glitters. And for us to really clearly declare it, I don't want those glitter. And the Lord is so merciful. He's so merciful. He knows that we are suffering. He knows that we are struggling. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Mamai vanso jiva aloke, jive bhuta sanatana, manastastani driyani prakritistani karshati. And that says, the living entity in this conditioned world. So that's conditioned to fruitive activity, conditioned to empirical philosophy, conditioned to want to mysticism. Mysticism is like, let me have some juice out of Krishna consciousness. Even the mysticism we get from Krishna consciousness, we need to guard ourselves against it. We are mixed devotee, we are common devotee, ordinary devotees. I am an ordinary devotee and I want to remember that. So I'm going to be having all those trapped as I am practicing Krishna consciousness. So in the conditioning, there is those three conditioning. So the living entities in this conditioned world, that's a world of condition, are my eternal fragmental parts. They are my eternal. Krishna said, They are my eternal fragmental part. There's nothing we can do about it. We are his. I am yours, Krishna. I am your eternal fragmented part. I am yours, eternal fragmented part. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the minds. So Krishna is so empathic. He does know that we are struggling with the senses. He does know that we are struggling with the mind. And he said, yeah, that struggle is there. Focus on me. Don't focus to try to eradicate the struggle. Don't focus on trying to counteract the material situation. Just be careful to not be allured by things that are not me, and focus on me. Focus on me because you are my eternal fragmental part. You are my eternal servant. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kabodai Shravanadi Sudachiti Karya Udai. Nitya Siddha, our eternal constitutional position. Nitya, eternal. Siddha is Krishna Nitya Das. We are eternally servant of Krishna. And we need to remember that. In every moment in our life, we can remember that. And the way to remember that, I'm going to go to the second part of the purport of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, he said that the way to remember that is to be in contact with a pure devotee, to be in contact with a pure devotee. And no glitter, AD, I don't know who is AD, maybe Anasuya. I don't want any glitters that sound rebellious in a good way. I'm letting that seeking, Hare Krishna. I am an eternal servant of the Lord. Yeah, you are. No glitter, no more glitter. So many glitters, so many gross and subtle glitter. At first it's gross, it's easy to deal with it. You know, then I follow the 4-Eagle principle, and then there is all name, fame, whatever. And there is the glitters, they become more and more subtle. Krishna tests us. Maya's rules, Maya's responsibility is to constantly test us. Do you want Krishna or you want me? And Maya, she's so beautiful. She's Krishna's energy. She has all the mystic power. She has all the wealth. She has all the beauty. She has everything in the cosmic manifestation. On a material level, everything she has. And she is going to use it. Why? Because she wants to make sure nobody go back to the spiritual world that's not completely 100% unalloyed, completely pure, with no tinge of material contamination, with no conditioning. No more conditioning. And Maya, she's going to like, here's a carrot. Here is something. You want it? It's there for you. And then, oh, yes. And I forget Krishna. I forget Krishna again and again. So, yes. So, Brahmanda Brahmiti Kona Bhagavan Jiva. Brahmanda Brahmiti means like circulating again and again in so many universes, not this one only, so many planets, so many species of life, 8,400,000 species of life. We have circulated in all of them. So Brahmanda Brahmiti means like the universe and circulating in different planets, different universes for millions and millions of lifetimes. Brahmanda Brahmiti Kona Bhagavan Jiva. Bhagavan means condition.
Fortunate.
Fortunate. Yeah, fortunate. Bhagavan means fortunate. So after circulating like that, then Bhagavan Jiva, fortunate Jiva, Bhagavan, Guru Krishna Prashadipai, Bhakti Lata Beach. he get the prasad. Prasad means mercy. Prasad from the Guru and Krishna. Yasya prasada Bhagavad prasada yasya prasada nagati kutopi. Without the mercy of Guru, we cannot get the mercy of Krishna. So a fortunate jiva, after circulating again and again, he get the mercy of a pure devotee. He get the mercy of the pure devotee, and like he get the bhakti lata beach. And that bhakti beach is very, very sensitive, very fragile. It's like a very small seed of devotion. And as we water it kind of starts sprouting. And we can see sometimes people say start sprouting it and it's crushed. And then so fragile. We need to like protect it, like our watering the garden and pulling the weed and cultivating and making sure I see all the weeds. Sometimes they are obvious and sometimes they are very not obvious. And they are very glittery because they exactly look like the Bhakti creeper. And there is no distinction. Like I remember when we had a garden when I was growing up, and we were growing a lot of things like peas and beans and radishes, and like that at the beginning of the season. I was more involved at the beginning of the season, and then I was involved when it was time to harvest. But then, it was really difficult to make distinction between when they have only like the cotyledon, I don't know if it's a biological term. Then when the two first leaves come up, they practically look all the same. When the from the beans, like from the seed, when they come out, they look the same. It's not easy unless you're really expert to making distinction between all those sprouting vegetables. So similarly, as we make advancement in spiritual life, we may see that, this is the Bhakti creeper. But if we need to develop this ability to make distinction. And Srila Prabhupada is a master of distinction, the master of distinction. I don't know any other guru, Vaishnav, that is so expert as to teach distinction. And from my perspective, this is the extraordinary manifestation of Srila Prabhupada and the proof of Srila Prabhupada expertise and how he's met to guide the Brahmiti, like all those living entity, fortunate living entity, Bhagavan Jiva of this Kali Yoga back to Godhead, because he's so insisting for us to be able to make those distinctions. So the living entity, it's already 9/11. I'm so sorry, I didn't even share half of what I wanted to share. Anyway, so I'm going to go where I wanted to go. So we have that responsibility too. Srila Prabhupada is here to serve the world. He's here, he wants to canvas, he wants to reach those jivas that are waiting to receive Bhakti Lata Beach. And we have an opportunity to be instrument of that by not rebelling, by becoming a subordinate instrument of Guru and Krishna, subordinate instrument of Lord Chaitanya. And when we become subordinate instrument and we let go of all the resistance and we constantly rack our brain, how can I give the mercy of Srila Prabhupada to all the jivas? And for each of us, it will look differently. and to keep that in the forefront of our mind, regardless where we are at, regardless what we do, we can constantly meditate and be like when I go shopping, when I'm in the streets, when we go to work, whatever we go, there is a way. There is a way that we can be an instrument and really regain that place of eternal fragmented part of Krishna. And so for us today, for me, specifically today, I'm going to, of course, I'm trying to endeavor all the time to give Krishna consciousness to people. I'm sure most of the time I get in my way. So I pray to be an instrument, to be put at the lotus feet of Krishna. And today I'm going to stretch myself and go against all the resistance. At 11 o'clock, we are going to be at Santa Fe Community College, where there is going to be a harp festival. And for 2 hours out of the week, I'm going to really stretch myself to be in that mood of like, okay, Krishna, I'm here and I'm giving Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada is alive in his book. Right, Krishna? Thank you for being here today. And I'm going to read the verse because it's quite an amazing verse, and even if it's always an amazing verse. Janyasa Krishna vimukasya daiva tadama shilasya sudukiti shaktasya anugrahayeha charantinonam bhutani bhavyani janardanasya. Oh my Lord, great philanthropic souls, travel on earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so we can travel to Santa Fe Community College to show compassion to the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord. So everybody is a rebel. So I'm a rebel too, but I have some sense of subordination, and I'm going to go with people and support them to realign with their true constitutional position. You're a servant of Krishna. You're a servant of Krishna. You're a servant of Krishna. Today is Ekadasi. I see Ekadasi is here. I don't know if it's Ekadasi or someone else, but any comment, question about our class today, or the purport? That's an amazing purport, and the verse. Any comment? Hare Krishna. Sharing, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Hare Krishna. Kantora Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Aprimanande Hari Hari Bol. See you at Santa Fe Community College.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Harinama Sankirtana ki jai.
Jai.